Hi, Erin. What motivated you to focus on law and estate planning?
I appreciate that you asked that question. And it is often the case that when we decide to go into a certain field, something happens to promote us into that, to motivate us to do that. So I went into law for a lot of reasons. Um, and at the same time, what made me want to focus on estate planning and helping families prepare for end of life is that I had a situation in my family where the preparation had been done, but it had not been continued. So it had started, but it wasn't complete. My grandmother had a wonderful estate plan 20 or so years before her death. And she had a wonderful trust, and the family business was taken care of. And she had people to help her out when she got sick with her healthcare documents. And then a lot of those people started to die. She had my grandfather passed away, and he was her first choice to help her out when she was sick. And then my great aunts also died, and they were her second and third choice, I believe. So what ended up happening is that when she got sick and she was unable to make her medical choices, everyone had to run around and try to get something done up because there was no one to help her out legally. And so my father and his brother were put under a lot of stress when they had to do that. Additionally, under additionally, after she died, we realized as we talked in our family, some of us believed that she had different intentions about how she wanted the family business and family land disposed of. They had a farm. And because her will and trust were different than the intentions that some of my family members believed she had, it created a lot of stress and strain in the family. They had to go to a lot of complicated measures to get things sorted out. And I was not involved, thankfully, but I did witness the stress that it brought to our family as a whole. And emotionally, it was very hard. So when I started my own firm in 2020 during the pandemic, it was a profound value assessment for me, and I made a commitment to myself and to my community that I would not let this happen if I could help it. I would help people come up with estate plans that could survive stress and strain and help their family survive their end of life as well. And also make sure that I had something in place to offer people to allow them to frequently review and update their plans as their lives changed.
Could you tell us more about your focus on children?
So, children are precious. They are one of our most precious resources. They're the future of this planet, really, if we look at it from a spiritual standpoint. Our children are going to dictate our own future because we're not going to be here to do it. And so I also had a profound desire to help people protect their children and foster in them their own values and desires so their children can carry that on as part of someone's legacy. Your legacy isn't just about money, it's also about your values, desires, your intentions, and other gifts that you want to pass along to your kids or those that you love if you don't have children. And so in my own life, I am not able to have children. And I started to wonder, well, how can I give back to children? Because as I said,
Right.
they're so precious. And I realized that part of an estate plan, again, isn't just about your money. It's not transactional in that way. It's also about how you want to pass on your gifts and protect your children. So my estate plans for families who have children, they have the option of also putting in place some extra protections for their children so that if something happened and parents, we think we're going to be around forever, or you do as parents, but sometimes you're not. You know, something could happen to you unexpectedly. You could not come home from your date night that you and your husband had or your partner had. And how would your children be protected? So what most people don't know is that kids can't be left alone. And if they're left alone, neighbors find out, people find out, the police find out, they come, and Child Protective Services comes and takes your kids and places them with someone, and it might not be the person that you would want. And just because you can't be found doesn't mean, you're dead or anything. It may just mean you got in an accident, you had to go to the hospital, something happened. And you come back and you find out, your children are not with people that you would want, even for a short period of time. And that could be very stressful. So, like most attorneys, I help people to figure out who they would want to be long-term guardians of their children and put that in their will, because that's very important. And what I also do is help people figure out who their short-term guardians would be, who they would want their kids to go to if something should happen to them unexpectedly in the short term, because the will doesn't take effect for a while. And not a lot of people know that. And it only takes effect if you're deceased, not during your life. And so I help people put in place that emergency planning that will help them protect their children if something should happen to them and they're not available to do that. Very important thing.
How are real estate and estate planning connected?
Very good question. And I will state at the outset that uh, there is a really large connection between realty and estate planning. Your home is your biggest asset. I believe it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said something like, your home is your biggest, I don't know if he used the word asset or investment, but he said it's your biggest concern. You will be living in it for a long time, and you will put a lot of effort into caring for it. And that made me think, wow, a home is almost like a child, or a pet. You buy
Exactly.
it has a lot of value, not only monetarily, but also to you personally. You care for it, keep it in good repair so that you can continue to live in it, and if needed, you can sell it. And so there is a profound connection there, because one of the things that is a big part of your estate on your death is your home. If you own your own home. And so that asset is often the biggest thing that your estate administrator has to deal with on your death. And the question becomes, what do they want to do with it? What did you want to do with it? Because they're acting for you and they may not know. So it's to your benefit to have a plan set in place, and the plan should involve your home. If you have a will, then put something in there about what you want done with your home. I want my home sold on my death and the money divided among my children. If you have a trust, which is a more private way of dealing with your property than a will, the court doesn't have to know what you own. However, your trustee has to know what to do with what you own. So if you want to be really foolproof about it, there is a way to actually put your home into your trust before your death so that your trust owns the home. If you don't want to do that for some reason, you need to provide for it in some way in your trust. It's a very precious asset. So this is the way that our fields connect, because I can help you protect and solidify your intentions regarding that home you just bought from Amy.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Erin. How can our viewers stay in touch?
Certainly. So I would love to connect with your viewers and discuss with them how I can help them. And I come from a very caring and service-oriented place, and love to get to know people and connect. I think it's very important. I can be found in some various places. My website is erinedgarlegal.com. You can find me on LinkedIn by searching for Erin Edgar. That's Edgar, and Erin with an E. And you can also find me on Facebook at my Facebook page, which is Erin Edgar Legal. And additionally, I love a good old-fashioned phone call, so I'm sure that Amy will have my phone number in the
Yes,
show notes.
yes, definitely. And all the links will be in the show notes too. So if
Great.
you need to reach out to Erin, and you can contact me and I'll make sure to connect you with Erin as well.